I don't like to say I sell real estate. I like to say that I help people move to their next destination.
Today, I'm talking to Amit Bhuta with Compass Miami. In the business for 15 years, Amit has grown to a strong team that attracts clients through smart strategic marketing rather than cold calling or chasing deals. Today, we talk about that and how to build a better business by creating deeper connections. Thanks for listening to the Jere Metcalf Podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. This podcast was created for real estate agents across the country to come together, sharing ideas to take your, their, and our business to the next level. All right, everybody, it's the Jere Metcalf Podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. And today, with Compass from Miami, we have back on the show Amit Bhuta. And Amit, I will say a few things and I'm going to let him talk. But on the last show, Amit talked about, it was selling from the consumer's point of view, but the actual title was How to Think Like a Consumer to Double Your Business. And we were very strategic in that interview, but we're going to really get into kind of taking that to a new level with you today. But in the meantime, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Good to have you. So tell us and everybody a little bit, give us a refresher, give everybody listening a refresher on, obviously you're in Miami, you've got a team, but how you got into the business and a little bit about how you run your business.
Yeah, so I've been doing real estate for about 15 years. Prior to that, being an Indian male, just being an Indian, we think about going to college and then you're either engineer, lawyer, doctor. And if you do something else, you're a little bit weird. So I guess I was the weird one. I did finance in college. And after that, I got into the car business. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a stockbroker.
Your parents were probably really freaking out when you did that.
It was surprising because they actually were okay with it. And I was surprised. Why aren't they mad?
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I did the car business for 11 years. I was a sales manager, finance manager, sold cars in the beginning for a bit. Got to really get out of my shell from that. So it benefited me quite a bit because in the car business, as a manager, you're the guy that you're walking into the room and you see the husband or wife or whoever it is tapping the other person and telling them, oh, the manager's here. So immediately you got to get them to like you, pay more than they want, and then give you a perfect survey after you leave. So it improved my skills quite a bit. So after that, I got burnt out. And like most agents, I wanted to get into real estate to have a more flexible schedule. And obviously, those that are in real estate know that that's not the case. But
yes.
So it was totally different. And for 11 years, I did real estate the traditional way, and I didn't really like it that much. And then the last 4 years, we've been doing stuff that we really like, and hopefully we'll get into that later.
Love it. So actually doing business in a way that you like to make more money. So since you've started in business and you've gone from not liking it to liking it, what's that done for your production?
It's helped quite a bit. So in the past, like with agents, when you're a new agent, the coaches and the leaders normally have, they're thinking about you and they want you to succeed. But I think because they don't know really your personality that well, they tell you to do the same things that they tell everyone. Call people that their homes didn't sell. The ones that are pissed off that their house didn't sell, call them and ask them to list.
And the ones that 100 other agents called 30 minutes before you did. That's a good try. That's a good tactic.
Yeah, that are using exactly the same script, Exactly. So that's one of the things.
It really makes our industry look good too, by the way. Love it. Great strategy.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So it's terrible, like you said. It makes us look really bad. And just trying to figure out what to do by doing things that other people taught me wasn't the right thing to do.
Exactly. So that being said, that gets us a little bit, kind of leads us into what we already talked about last time, which was how to, I'm going to read the title again, y'all. Sorry, but how to think like the consumer to double your business. So when you're thinking about your client, your customer, thinking from their perspective, they don't want you to call them on their expired listing along with 100 other agents and hear who you are. And how are they going to remember who you are if you're them? They're not. So that being said, that gets into we talked in the last interview about really like when you have a property or you have an opportunity, or how do you create an opportunity by target marketing and finding the people who actually need you now, because the traditional way of advertising is going out to everybody. And then going a little bit deeper with you today, we talked about your content, is creating that content that helps people find you, and they may not sell their house for a year, or maybe it's a month or a week, but they know they're hiring you and they're making the decision to call you. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with your content now and what that looks like.
Yeah, so a lot of agents and people in business in general, they look at themselves competing against people in their same business for the consumer's attention. But what they're not looking at is that consumer has other options besides just looking at a real estate video. They also can go on not Blockbuster, wow, I'm old, on Netflix, or they can go eat, or they can do numerous other things, go on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But we have to take that attention where they really want to see what we're seeing compared to like watching football or whatever. So we pretend, the team and I, there's 3 of us in our team, and we want to make sure that we think like, if we're the consumer and we're online, would I actually watch that? Would I take time away from whatever else I'm doing to watch that? And so one of the things that we do is we probably 90% of our content is not real estate related.
Well, would I watch that? And would I share that?
Right, exactly. And besides that, it has to have that impact within the first few seconds.
So tell us a little bit about, and we're going to share, Isaac, make sure we share some examples of Amit's videos, but I kind of have 2 questions at once. Number 1, what does your video look like? And number 2, how do you go about figuring that out? But tell us that the first, what does the video look like? How long is it? How does it start? How do you get that attention in that first really second or 2?
Okay, so like for us, for our team, we have in the beginning of this year, we wanted to really, really build our brand by doing videos in a way that most people aren't doing. Mm-hmm. So we have a team of videographers. There's a couple of them, an editor and stuff, and they follow the team and I around about 12 hours a week, just doing whatever we're doing, whether the customer is a buyer, seller, and they allow us to be with them, whether I'm just with the team and we're talking about their dates or about our personal life or anything else. We just try and have basically behind the scenes of our personal life. And that's how we do it. So as far as how long the content is, a lot of people ask me that. And you know what it is? That there is no answer. It's how long that content is good. And a lot of times, if we've done videos that are 2 minutes and we've done videos that are 21 minutes.
So I like your answer. How long is the video? How long is the video? How long it's good? And that's anywhere from 2 minutes to how long?
So our videos have been from 2 minutes to 21 minutes. And with that said, regardless of how long the video is, it's probably not good as long as you think it is.
Wait, say that again? It needs to be shorter, is what you really mean, right?
Right. So say I'm doing a video, we're creating content, and our video, in our mind, we think 15 minutes is an incredible video. Typically, maybe after 7 or 8 minutes is really the great video.
Like Isaac and I fight all the time because I want like 30 seconds because that's my attention span. No, obviously, I can do better than 30 seconds with my attention span. But I mean, yeah. So question, how do you get we talked about, we've got to make sure it's what they want to see. What do you do to make sure you get their attention so they stay for the full 2 minutes or 21 minutes, whatever that is?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do now is we wanted to create content, like you said, that people are interested in. And our first show, we wanted everyone to get to know us in a different way. So there's a show called Hot Ones where there's a celebrity and then a regular dude just interviewing them. And they're sitting across from a table. And the difference of the show is they're eating really hot wings from lowest heat to the highest heat. And what happens is when people eat spicy stuff, it's almost like they're drunk. They're more truthful. And so our first...
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I'm going to Google that one. Okay.
Yeah, it's true. If you watch
really?
the show, you'll see. Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. So our first show, Jade is on our team. Yeah. She doesn't eat spicy at all, and Will eats a little bit spicier. But Jade is super competitive. And being an Indian male, or just Indian in general, I can eat really spicy. So we asked questions as we ate these spicy wings, and people got to see us in a little bit of pain, and we answered truthful, and it was sort of interesting, and we got probably over 20,000 views on it.
Wow. So I love that. I think everybody's, and everybody's always trying to, be so clever or sophisticated or whatever, and you're eating spicy food and answering questions and getting 20,000 views. So what was your, you get your views, you get your online visibility, you get that attention, that's great. But how does that affect your interactions? Like doing something like that, you get views, but then how does it affect your business and your interaction and your day-to-day? And what's the impact of it?
So a lot of times when people do ads, whether it's a Zillow ad or a Zillow, if someone is paying to use Zillow and they get these leads, quote unquote leads, that person probably isn't going to transact for a while. A lot of people do Facebook ads and stuff. And what happens is people will see your ad and they'll see your stuff, right, but they may not be ready to move for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. So the biggest thing is, they always say to follow up, that, that's where you make all your money. But we follow up in a different way. We have a connection with people. We try and look at all our leads like they're on our social pages, like they're on our Instagram or Facebook.
So where do your leads come? So basically what you're telling me is the impact is when you connect, when you talk to people, they feel like they know you and they already have a deeper connection with you because they've seen the video. Is that sum it up?
Exactly, 100%. We call it we're attracting rather than chasing. And
exactly.
It's funny because the way it works is people forget where they see you. I'll meet someone and they'll be like, haven't we met before? Or I'll go to a random restaurant with my wife. And I'm sure you get that all the time, Jere.
So when we've only been in the business, I've been in 16 years, which I'd say that on every show. I'm going to stop saying it. But guess it's relevant. So, but you talked about leads. Where do you get your leads from?
So what we do is this. We create these videos. The people that look at our videos, we target market them a certain way. So when someone is hiring someone, whether it's real estate or whatever it is, they're typically looking for three things. One is that person is decent at what they do. The second thing is third-party testimonials, like going on Amazon and looking for a review. And then the last thing is the authenticity of that person. Mm-hmm. People want to do business with people that they like.
So we're going to make you repeat that. I keep interrupting you, but it's only because I want everybody to take it in, and I won't do it too much. But so it was three things that you said?
Right.
So what were they?
The first thing for us to get our leads is we create something engaging, whether it's a video, whether it's something, whatever it is, whether it's a photo, maybe something about a restaurant, whatever it is.
Okay.
So people are engaged in the content. Once they see the content, we retarget them with three things. So that we show them other engaging stuff, so they'll get to know us a bit. Another thing is we'll show them like a third-party testimonial, maybe a video on a testimonial from a prior client. And then the last thing is they'll see that we're authentic. So maybe they'll see a video of us doing real estate. Maybe they'll see, but as a team where there's interaction, not like a boring real estate thing, but where we're hanging out with the team. We did a video called The Hustle, and it's like behind the scenes stuff, and people really get to know us we don't want to make anything boring. We always want to make it pretty interesting and different than what's out there. And by doing those 3 things, people get to know us and then they become leads.
So you do, the 3 things you do are, you engage, number 1, you engage, you get their view. Number 2, you retarget. Is that the 3rd thing?
Right.
And then number 3, the testimonial?
So the second thing is like they have to see that we're an expert in our field.
Right.
By a third party. So like testimonials or videos by consumers.
Okay.
And then the third is the authenticity, where
what was the second? We got 1 and 3rd. So first you get seen.
Right.
Number 1, you get seen. Number 2, you get seen again.
The first is engaging, like the engagement.
Right.
So it could be a video, it could be something else.
Right. So they're seeing you. Yeah.
Right.
In an engaging way.
Would be like a testimonial, like a showing that we're an expert in our field, but a third party, not from us, not like I'm Amit, I'm the best agent in Miami. No one cares about that.
We're gonna cut that out and post that at the very beginning of the interview. I'm Amit, and I'm the best real estate agent in Miami. I love how you can edit out of context.
The sad part about that is that's how most agents advertise.
Well, to each his own. So get viewed, testimonial, and then
the authenticity. And that's the part that's missed out in real estate the most. We tell the people how great we are. We get the testimonials from people, but they never get to see us with our family. They never get to see us with the team. They never get to see us just being a regular Amit or a regular Jere. And that's the thing that hooks people. Mm-hmm. And we forget that a lot of times.
Well, they need to know there's competence and character, and we need both. And we need not forget we can be as competent as we want to be, but we're all emotional people. We all make decisions with emotions. We can't make decisions without our amygdala, which does give us emotions. Anyway, so that's really what it boils down to and why it's so effective. So tell us a little bit about because content creation is a big thing now. It's like everybody, if you're not doing it, you want to do it. And if you're doing it, you want to do it better. How did you give us a few examples of in creating content and getting where it is now? Because you've got a really authentic, really like you enjoy it. It expresses who you are, is who you are. I love the quote from the book Relentless I always forget, is it Tim Grover or Tom Grover? That's embarrassing. And don't even edit it out, Isaac. But we don't edit anything. But is it
It's Tom Grover, yeah.
Tom Grover. So Tom Grover, my favorite quote in the entire book is to have what you really want, you must first be who you really are. Maybe those aren't the exact words, but that's the quote. So that's ultimately what you're doing. The question is, give us a little bit of how you figured out mistakes you made along the way and how you would do it again. So start us with, give us what was a total mistake you made on doing content that you learned from and what you learned and advice you have to everybody else moving forward to create their content.
Yeah, so one of the things, a huge mistake was thinking like an agent rather than a consumer. Because if I tell the world how great Compass, Sotheby's, or whatever other company that you work for is the best, people don't really care, And
right.
what people care more about, especially if it's your targeted audience, like a buyer, seller, someone that's going to transact in the future. And the way is to think of things that were difficult in a transaction. So like when I started creating content better, as far as real estate, whenever I was with the consumer, whether it's a buyer, seller, tenant, landlord, whatever it was, whenever there was a pain point during the transaction, whether it's an appraisal, inspection, whatever it is, I would jot down on my phone that topic, like offer just got accepted, appraisal didn't work. And then I would do content on, like, for example, my offer just got accepted, now what? And thinking like a consumer and creating that content. And also I think of myself as like, so say today I meet someone.
I'm gonna pause you again because I want everybody to get this in. When you created that content and my offer was just accepted, now what? Was that a blog or a video or what was that?
So yeah, so when we do content now, it needs to be in all forms. Okay. So the easiest way to do it, because I always think of this, like say I met someone tonight and they told me they had a house they want to sell their house and they have that house where Jere lives, where you live. Mm-hmm. And I tell them how great you are. The first thing they do before they ever call you is they're going to Google you.
Oh yeah.
And if they see that you have a lot of content, it's when someone Googles you, there's one or two things that are going to happen. They're either going to be happy that they're going to be calling you, or they're going to think, wow, why am I calling this person? They're like a ghost online. So at that time.
Right. Keep going. I want to get you directed back on the other answer.
Right. So I was going to get to that.
Okay, good.
So
good. Yeah.
What I would do, so like with that content, if an agent wanted to do my offer just got accepted, now what? I would first do it on video, because people, if they see me on video, they're going to get to know me better. They're going to either like me or not like me. The mm-hmm. next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that video. You can just go online and look up video to audio. Like you could get online tools for free and mm-hmm. it would strip the audio from the video. From there, I would create a podcast on that. And then mm-hmm. from there, I could transcribe that audio to a blog. So I could have 3 forms of content based on that, and then I can put it in the relevant platforms.
Love it. So how often do you do that?
How
often do you do content? Go ahead.
So every week we do 3 blogs a week.
Wow, that's a lot.
And so the blogs are, one blog is real estate related. Then another blog is like neighborhood related, like best dessert in a certain town. And then the last one would be things to do over the weekend.
I love it.
So those are just blogs, but during that time too, usually weekly, we'll have a video from the team just doing we have a show called All In Miami, and that'll be a video there, and then just other things as well.
So question for you, because you obviously have an incredible amount of content. You're putting 3 blogs out a week, and they're video, audio, and digital. And then a little bit back into our first interview is you're doing this very engaging branded marketing, but then you're kind of you're enhancing it with targeted marketing. When you target market, it sounds like you're creating content and because there's probably a lot of ways, but speaking for the amateurs such as myself, when you're creating the content, you can boost it by going, or not boost it, that's the wrong word, that's a Facebook word, but you can target it by targeting to a demographic. You can say, I want to target to people who are showing behaviors of moving or, this age, in this area, live here. Or it sounds like you're targeting to people, you go, whatever computer IDs or whoever hit this video or hit this blog or hit this whatever, we're going to make sure stuff goes back out to them. That's the targeted marketing you're doing.
Right. So let me share with you how we do it. So the first thing we do is, if it's like a video or if it's content that we think is engaging, we're going to boost it on Facebook, and we're going to go, it's very, very open. It's going to be 18 plus to, whatever age. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to be that city plus 25 miles. So it's going to be huge. We're probably going to have a million or 2 million. So what we're trying to do is get our funnel to be really big. And then once we have that, we have something called a super audience. A super audience is gonna be people that have seen these videos and this content. Plus, it's also gonna be people that have gone on our website, depending on, and if we have other content like Facebook page and other thing or Instagram, we're gonna put all those people in our super audience. And those people are going to get specifically targeted the way we spoke about earlier.
So then those people will see more content coming from you, whether it's Facebook. Is it going to be Facebook? Is it going to be on the website? Is it going to be on the internet? Is it going to be on their phone? How does it work?
It's going to be a couple ways. So one of the ways is So like when I think of my business, I want to have something called omnipresence. I always want to be in the back of their mind, and just with, being an authentic person that does real estate. So they're going to see stuff on Facebook, on Instagram, these different ads that we were talking about. And we don't even like to call them ads. They're sort of like posts, they're just going to see a post.
Yeah.
Because if it's
you're not even advertising, you're actually using it to develop a connection to people that you're relevant to. Yeah.
Right. So we're showing these posts, and also we're going to have ads like on the web as well. They're not going to usually be videos, but they're going to be on the web. So if someone is on ESPN, Yahoo, eBay, whatever, they're going to see numerous of our posts,
Wow. And how much do you think, so where do most of your clients come from? Do they come from this online engagement, or do they come from referrals, and the omnipresence of the online agent is creating referrals, or both, or?
Yeah, so it's for both actually. And so one of the biggest mistakes agents make is they're too specific with their targeting, and they'll take out real estate agents. I've gotten like,
oh no, we can't do that. Real estate agents are our biggest source, right? But keep going. Yeah.
So I mine is open to the U.S. a lot of times, and I've got 19 referrals since last April from agents just from seeing my stuff.
Exactly. No, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, it's funny when we disregard our own industries to connect with one another, to bring one another good buyers and sellers, whether it's locally or in our own market, co-oping with other agents. I represent the buyer. You're not representing the seller. You're in Miami, but somebody is. But you get it. Or right, us referring business to one another. The same thing. I love that. So tell us, I think, what do you have an example of, well, you've kind of given it to us, but what is your biggest, from where you were in the beginning of it was kind of like, hey, you need to know how great I am and how great my brand is and how you have to have me, to this perspective of, hey, what do you need to know? And coming from a mindset of, what do you need to know? What can I do for you? What are things that I'm learning, that I'm sharing with you to really focus on them, that creates this relationship of your value to them and the connection and how much you care. How did you, I kind of asked this already, but I'm going to pull a story out of you. Is there anything that happened, or is there surely it was a process, but what are some moments that you went, yeah, like I need to rethink this? What made that happen?
Yes. So yeah, I could remember exactly when you asked me that. So like I think it was a Sunday night, and it was like my 11th year into the business. And I was thinking, okay, Monday is coming, and I don't really want to call expired people. I don't want to bother them. And,
I thought, like, if people love doing that. Seriously, keep going. This is good. I'm sorry. That was too funny.
So I did that for a few years, and I guess I'm going to brag. I'm very good at it. I can overcome all the objections. But I realized I don't want to piss people off.
Yeah, take us back to that Sunday night. The Sunday night. Tell us what you were thinking in that moment. But yeah.
I'm like, it was more like, I'm not going to curse, but it was like, whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I hate this. And I want to think of an excuse not to work tomorrow. And I was following people online. There's a company called Curator. And I was following them for years because they're like master marketers. And Curator always does stuff from the consumer's perspective. And then one day I just made a phone call. I called them. And I think when in real estate, the main thing is you have to have your group. You have to find your group,
your people, yeah.
Whoever it is. You have to have your cheerleaders, people that you can learn from and stuff. And for me, it happened to be those people in Curator, those agents that I met, because we all had the same ideas about trying to do something, because I was so tired of pissing off customers that I wanted to make them really happy. And, it doesn't always
it's
work.
common sense, right? But it took 11 years. And I say that to say some people do it for 20 or 30 or 40, and there are a lot of people doing business that way. As you know, that's a lot of what inspired this podcast is like, hey guys, we don't have to do that. But no, what did you just say?
I was saying I was a very slow learner. It took me 11 years to figure out if you make people happy with you, then maybe they'll hire you more.
Right, exactly. Maybe they'll refer you more. And maybe, I think, to bounce off of that, for me, it was like, I always, Bill Fandel always laughs at me because I say I got in this business for the money. But that's not why I stayed in it. And because I got in it and connected with people and learned a lot and realized one day, I was like, especially in the recession, I was like, wait, we actually do a lot of great things for people. And we actually have the ability in our industry to harness what we're good at and do more of it and grow a team and mentor people. It's just this really productive, really great, really abundant business that oftentimes can have a not so abundant mindset.
Right, for
so
sure.
I love that. What is your biggest advice for two different sets of groups? Number one, those out there who haven't really created that ongoing content. What's your biggest advice to figure out what to do and how to do it? That's the first one, and then I've got another one.
Okay, so the first thing I would do is I would ask people that aren't realtors, what would they like to see? It doesn't have to be real estate. The problem with agents is we ask other agents, hey, I'm going to do this. And they're thinking like an agent. And they're like, oh, that's great. And it sucks,
Yeah.
But speak to people that you think would be like people who would be your ideal consumer. Because one of the things is you have to know who your ideal consumer is. And once you find out who that person is, ask a few of them and say, hey, I'm going to be starting this show, or I'm going to do this podcast, or I'm going to be creating this content. And it doesn't have to be real estate. If it is real estate, it's fine. What would you want to read about? What would stop you from doing something else where you're looking forward to reading this or watching it or seeing this? If you ask enough people, you'll find out the answer.
I love that. And something about your answers I think is important that you haven't said, but you've shown it, is that a lot of times it's about asking questions, and it's not just asking questions, it's asking the right questions, asking yourself the right questions. Like, do I really want to be doing this? Am I really, like, you actually were good at it, but you hated it. And how could I do this differently? And asking other people, the right questions, your ideal consumers, what do they want? Number two, or do you want to add anything to that before I ask you the second one?
No, you added to it well, so it's fine.
Oh, it's fine. Okay, great.
No.
I love to be
perfect.
Fine. So, question number two. Question number two is, for those of us listening and out there who have content, what is your advice to make it better today and make it better in the future? Or just make it better?
Okay, so one of the things is the more content you do, the less important it is for it to be good, because you're going to have more good content, and you're going to have a lot of times we get paralyzed by perfection. Mm-hmm. And I don't want people, because I'll have on my team, people will ask that, what should we do? This or that. And sometimes it'll take people a lot longer than they should to just do it. And I think no matter if someone hasn't done content yet, the bottom line is whatever you do, it's going to suck in the beginning. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be good.
You got to be willing to be bad. You got to be willing to suck at it first if you're ever going to be good at it.
Yeah, it has to be bad. And as you do it, you're going to figure out what you're good at, what you're bad at, and you just have to be open-minded. You have to be self-aware and not have an ego about it. And once you do that, you'll figure it out. It'll be
still talking about the newbies. Let's talk about the people who got it out there. What, like, being a seasoned contenter, is that a word?
Okay.
What's your advice to that? Like, as you've done it, you've gotten better at it. How do you keep it going, and how do you keep it fresh? Because I think the really important thing is the longer you do something, if you're not careful, it's people kind of take it for granted and it's not exciting. It's like, how do you keep fresh? How do you keep new? How do you keep the interest of your buyer? And how do you, keep it going?
Right. So that's a good question. So like, there are two ways. One way is you could always repost stuff that you've done in the past that was good. A lot of times agents will do something that's great and they'll post it once and that's it. You can reposition it in the future. So that's
especially
one way.
With video, with everything, you can re-edit, repost, rewrite a blog. I love that.
Exactly. Then another thing is, like, for example, and I guarantee you that most of the people watching this haven't done podcasts. So like with all these videos, if you did all this content and you thought these videos were great, but you don't want to redo them, make that into a podcast. All you have to do is strip the audio, upload it, and you have a whole new series of podcasts. As far as fresh content, new content, having better content, you have to always be aware of what consumers are interested in. You have to be, and try and make it, like I mentioned earlier, mostly not about real estate. Your best thing that you can do is create things that connect you to others. Because like we mentioned earlier, most people aren't going to transact with you for a while. They're going to transact in a few years. So if you create, like, I do a lot of content just with my wife, whether it's pictures or video or whatever. And people will tell me, like, that I've never met before. They'll say, so how's your wife doing? And I'm like, I never told you I had a wife.
Oh my God, that's so cute though. That's great. That's awesome. I love great advice. Okay, so now, I'm ready to do our final 3 questions because I think that really sums it up. But before I sum it up, is there anything else we should add to that or that I should be asking you to get it all out of you while we've got you?
No, I mean, that's fine. Not fine. I'm sorry. That's awesome.
I was like, I'm not going to call him out on that again. Is everything just fine for you, Amit? It's fabulous over here, just so you know.
It's amazing here.
It's amazing. But it's true. Okay, so anyway, final 3. You've had these guys before because obviously you've been on the show before, but we love to find out if they've changed or new perspective. Number 1, what do you find, well, especially as it pertains to content, is the most powerful tool that you've got? Maybe putting it out.
Tool?
Yeah, the best tool you've got for your business. And really, I'm curious, as it relates to our interview today, content.
So it's video for sure, and a lot of times we, like you were asking me before, like what content should we put out there? And we all have a story, every single person has something that's special about them or struggles that they went through. And I mean, I'll get into it really quickly. I've had 7 friends commit suicide in my life.
Wow.
So depression is something huge for me. And so we all have different things that are very important to us. And you have to find that passion, what you're passionate about. And then that'll be like the content.
Wow.
Especially in video.
Yeah. And video, is YouTube still the second most used search engine after Google?
Yep.
I think it is. Number 2, book. What book?
So there are like a ton of books that are out there. So like I listen to Gary Vee a lot. And even though like he's sort of, some people think they don't like him.
Gary Vee says fuck a lot.
Right. He sure does.
A lot. I mean, I've only said it once this whole episode. Just
I didn't know I was allowed to say it.
I say it when the camera's off. You can say it on the podcast. It's not the radio. Yes, he says it a lot. But I love the guy. I'm going to say the F word one more time. Everybody just close your ears if you don't like it. But I love Fuck You Monday.
Right.
If y'all haven't seen it, do yourselves a favor and Google it because it is the most motivating, awesome, perspective-giving little 1.5 minute blip. But go ahead. So I take over your answer. Yeah.
Gary Vee has numerous books, and the main theme of his books are just coming from contribution, just giving and expecting zero. Just to give you an example, I speak to agents every week 4 to 6 hours that call me and ask me how to help them with their marketing. And when I go into that call, I don't expect anything. I don't want to ask for a referral. I don't want anything. I just want to grow my friendship with them. That's the Gary Vee way of thinking. Because if you just want to establish a friendship, your life becomes way better and good things happen without asking.
They really do. Yeah, it's a great example.
Gary Vee books.
I love that about Gary Vee. He's so much fun. We're gonna have him on the show eventually. We just got to get on it. We had Chris Voss, like Never Split the Difference, my favorite book. I have to quote it every show almost. I haven't quoted on all of them, but kind of life changing. But Gary Vee is also like I would love to have a rant with him about some real estate because he's really sharp and gets it. But it's like, you can tell he's not an agent when he talks about it.
You know, his sister actually is on my friend's team.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome. Interesting. Okay, so next question, or last question of the final three. Well, which book? Did you tell us which book?
So there are a bunch of them. Crushing It was the last one, I believe. Yeah.
That one has been mentioned a few times on the show. All right, and our third question of our final three. If there's one thing that you would hope that we take away from this interview and nothing else, what would it be?
It would be to do things that consumers want to see. You know, if you're going to do a video, before you do that video, think if you're the consumer, would I watch that video? Would I read that blog? Would I listen to that podcast? And the biggest thing I can say is be self-aware. If you're not self-aware, and you have an ego, and you're like a typical real estate agent that doesn't really listen to advice but gives advice, you're not gonna succeed. So be very self-aware and pretend you're that consumer, and before you create that content. And I created content the other day, and I spent like 6 hours creating it, and it sucked. So I never did anything with it. Sucked, but I wanted to be real.
We've done that before, haven't we, Isaac? Love it. Awesome advice. Thank you so much for being on the show. That was great.